Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, brother?
I am very well. Happy to be back in the saddle. Really enjoyed working today. It's been nice.
Yeah,
Fun.
I'm excited to see you again. It's been, if you guys haven't known, Tim's been out for a couple weeks now. And when I say out, you and I talk every couple days here and there, but usually you and I talk almost daily. So it is good to see your smiling face again, brother.
Yeah, it's great to see yours too. It's funny. One of the guys in the team said, "Oh, when you're back, when you're fully back in the groove, I'll fill you in on things." I just thought, this is me back in the groove.
What FOMO, right? What do you mean you're gonna fill me in on things? That's so horrible when someone tells you something like that. Next week I'll tell you what happened at the party. Oof, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, no, now. Tell me now.
He went on to tell me everything anyway. It's like when the team call you, "Do you have 2 minutes?"
Yeah.
Sure. 20 minutes later, which is great. We love our team, so it's awesome.
Yeah, they are amazing.
Yeah, so I wanted to share something. So I was speaking with one of the men that we're working with. I will not say in what capacity, because it may give this amazing man away. He listens to this, so we'll see if he self-identifies. Anyway, he's been having some major wins in his relationship and in his life, especially in his fitness. Amazing guy. And he's been getting really frustrated on an evening, right? Because he finishes work, he rushes home to be with his family, 4 great kids. And when the kids go down, he wants to connect with his wife, right? His wife's been at home all day with the kids. So she's exhausted. She's tired. She's been switching, managing 4 kids of different ages. It's a lot. It takes out of her. So by the time the evening comes, by about 8 p.m., 9 p.m., the kids have gone to bed. They've split the kid duties in 2, divide and conquer. He naturally wants to go and then be with her and initiate some form of intimacy. And usually it's physical. It's not so much verbal. It's more so physical. Now for her, she's out of the bedroom, sat somewhere else in the house, reading a magazine or just something to decompress and unwind. Now, his version of this is that he gets annoyed because he expects that she should want to come into the bedroom and she should want to be intimate with him. And that intimacy could be a form of a kiss, a hug, laying together. It doesn't have to be sex. Sex would be good. It also doesn't have to be sex, right? His story goes on. I've been at work all day. I've been crushing it. I've been building for our family. She should want to come and spend this time with me. When else do we get time together? There is no other time in the day. I'm at work. We've got the kids. This is the only time that we have. She should want to come and be intimate with me. Now, I've not spoken to her, but I imagine her story goes something like, God, I just need to relax. Now the kids have gone down. I can have a moment to myself. I just need to unwind. She wouldn't use these words, I don't imagine, but fill my cup, right? So anyway, he walks out of the bedroom, walks across to where she is, and she rejects his offer. Let's just call it that. He then gets annoyed. He storms back into the bedroom. And that's a bit of a cycle. So I want to talk about attunement and the importance of it, right? Picking the right time. A concept, I don't like the word, but I'm going to use it. A concept that Amelia and I got introduced to when we were working with an intimacy coach a while ago was the idea of pumpkin hours. Don't know if you got introduced to the same thing.
Yeah, very familiar with it.
Yeah.
So Amelia's your partner, right?
Yeah. Amelia's my partner. Idea being is that there's a certain time in the day where you just turn into a pumpkin, right? For me, it's in the morning. The first hour or 2 of the day, I really prefer to be on my own, gather my thoughts, journal, meditate, even if it's just for half an hour. I really want to start the day on my own. I'm not one for waking up and being downstairs and going downstairs with Amelia and just starting to be with her and talk to her. And no, it's just too much for me. Whereas for Amelia, she's kind of the same after about 8 p.m. So if I finish work, let's say, and I go down and I want to talk with her, I want to see how her day was and how she is just not available for that kind of conversation for the most part at that time of day. She's switched off. She's maybe got Netflix on. She's just wanting to relax and chill. And a similar thing is kind of happening with this guy and his wife. They're just missing each other. When I introduced him to this idea, he then chose to seize an opportunity on one morning to connect with her. And it went completely differently. Huge win. It went from no connection to several kisses, a huge embrace, several big embraces, like a real strong, intimate connection. And obviously, he felt like he was on cloud nine. He was loving it. He walked out into his day just full of energy because he just had a great connection with his wife. So I'm curious, have you ever experienced a similar problem or heard anything similar from the men?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see this in other people. I mean, the events, right? We have at the Powerful Man. I'm just going to use that as an example. You are always pushing our agenda to start later, and I'm always pushing it to start earlier because I'm more like your partner, Amelia.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go late. you embrace the late night. You know, I like it, but there's a time where I like to be by myself at night, whereas in the morning I'm much more and I get up early. I get up at 4:20 in the morning every morning, so that's when I go seize the day, so to speak. So you see it there, and yeah, you see it in relationships all the time. So it's not only just timing, right? But what I'm also hearing from this guy's story, and I'd wonder, and you shared this really brilliantly, Tim, when you and Amelia were working with an intimacy coach, is they asked the question of like, okay, when is sex for you? And you're like, well, when I have an erection. And your partner, Amelia, said, oh, if we're having sex on Saturday, I think it was, or Friday, then it starts on Monday for me. So what I'm curious for this guy is not only the timing situation, because I can tell you the timing situation, and I'll go back to this in a second. My wife hears this all the time. My wife coaches mostly married wives, right? And she hears this all the time from the women that they're it's called mother whelmed, is what they call it, right? They're a mom and all day they've had the kids. And I see this, upstairs in my house, I have my 2-year-old. It's just mommy, 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 like literally like that for hours. And when I have the kids, it just drains me so much. I gotta be quiet so no one hears, but it drains me so much in a day. And she's doing this day in and day out. Now we have 2 kids. You said they have 4. I mean, I imagine that would be even tougher. And so then at the end of the day, just to have all that energy sucked out of you, and then your partner comes home, right? And the wife is supposed to be sexy, she knows this, marketing, billions of dollars of marketing have been targeted to her to tell her how she's supposed to be a mom, how she's supposed to be a wife. She now goes into this guilt and shame pattern, but she's so overwhelmed with everything that's going on in her world and so depleted, she just doesn't give a shit, right? She just doesn't care anymore. She's like, I have zero to give. My wife hears this all the time, and we hear it from the men. And if you add into this that this guy is not seducing his wife, maybe he is. I don't know. You know who you're talking about. I don't, for sure. Well, I do. But if he's not seducing his wife during that time, he's just coming home and then he wants to have sex, just like, all of us guys were ready when we're ready. That combined with her being depleted, that combined with her feeling some shame and guilt around things, it sets up for a bad formula. And most of us men go through this. And especially when then we react, we go into deer mode where he reacts, right? The R in deer acronym is reaction. He reacts when she turns down his advances. That further pushes her away. And it's like almost re-cementing this idea for her that she's not enough and can't give enough to him. And therefore, but she doesn't have anything, right? She's literally on empty. She has to go into, I don't give a shit mode. Like, I just don't care. I'm in survival mode. And so that's where a lot of guys are, a lot of guys and a lot of couples, especially ones that have younger kids, If the wife's depleted, she's watching the kids all day, he's out hunting and he's not going through any form of seduction for himself and for her, then yeah, attunement is definitely an issue there. Making sure you know the timing when it is, and just that's almost just kind of almost being like respectful, right?
Mhm.
And knowing when it is.
Mhm.
And a question you can ask your partner is, when are you the most turned on? When are you the most energetic?
Mhm.
Because it's not only, we also have cycles that we go through, right? And everybody's got a different cycle. It's kind of, there's a certain time of day that's better for you to work out, Tim, than it is for me, right? Circadian rhythms, sleep patterns of when we're at our optimal. And if our partners is different than ours, and we truly care about our partner, then we want to learn what theirs are. It starts with knowing what yours are too. And now you can start seeing. So you're talking about you and Amelia. If you're a pumpkin in the morning, and you definitely are, and Amelia's a pumpkin at night, then you guys get to find time in the middle to meet, right? And
Mhm.
make that a connection. Uh, you know, that's really important.
Yeah, it was. Before I didn't understand, obviously, before we understood this concept, I didn't understand why when I finished, obviously, we work from home. I got a team in time zones from Pakistan all the way across the west coast of the US, right? Typically, most people come online in the team about 1 p.m. UK time ish is when you come online. Most people come online. So, therefore, a lot of the meetings that tend to happen in the afternoon from about mid afternoon until early evening. And then, obviously, you've got a few things to do to wrap up the day as well. So, I used to finish work maybe 7, 8 p.m., right? And obviously for me, I'd do my alpha decompression and then come downstairs. Amelia would have the TV on naturally because for her, she might have eaten at maybe, let's say, 6. It's before we made a point of eating together as well. But she might eat, let's say, at 6. By 8 p.m., she's done. She's winding down. She's going to be going to bed in another hour and a half or so, right? So we'd miss each other. We'd completely miss each other. I'd be coming down at the end of my day excited, open to sharing some of the wins we'd had in the day, right? Expecting as well those wins to impress her, maybe, or even be met with some kind of appreciation or acknowledgement or whatever, right? And because she's not in that place, there was a period for a while, in fact, where it created distance between her and I
Yeah.
because neither of us knew what was going on. And obviously in the morning, I'd be up before her. I'd do the things I want to do, and I'd be out the door often before she even woke up because I'd be out the door going to the gym to work out. Then by the time I got back from the gym, let's say mid morning or whatever, she'd then be up and she'd be out walking the dogs. And by the time she got back, the meetings had started. So you can see without this awareness of quote unquote these pumpkin hours, let's say, and being able to be aware of when they are for you and your partner and working around them, you really can go on a slippery slope to just completely missing each other and not from a desire of not wanting to be with each other. I remember Amelia saying one thing. It was like I was a stranger. And this just blew my mind. When I used to come, I'd go downstairs at 8 p.m. and we wouldn't connect because she wasn't available. I'd be walking around. Let's say I'm walking around in the living room or doing whatever. She said it was like watching a stranger in the house because she felt so disconnected from me. And imagine, as days go by and weeks go by and so on, even if you spend the weekends together, the disconnect it can create space where there can be misunderstandings, resentment, contempt. I've done a podcast in the past on the four horsemen of divorce, right? Easily can pave the way for those things to creep in as well. So understanding this is for us really helped us out.
Yeah, I mean, it's super important. And this is one of the, I mean, first of all, kudos to you for continuously growing, right? You and Amelia are figuring this out. You're learning more about yourselves. We are all on our journey, right? It's not like you have everything figured out or I have everything figured out. And that's why both of us are continuing to grow. And this is a really important thing. I mean, we talk about connection. And this is a little bit away from attunement, but guys, micro connections can mean everything, right? So my wife and I, we have 2 young kids. I'm busy doing whatever it is I do, and she's busy doing, taking care of the kids. And so she'll be running around the kitchen, like getting snacks and doing all the stuff that parents do. And sometimes I will grab her face or cheeks, like literally grab them. And I'll just look at her straight in the eyes and just connect and then give her a kiss and then walk away. And that's all it takes. And that's like 2 minutes. But that will fill her up because she knows we're connected. Cool. We're on the same team. That's important to her. And I share that with you because, that could be something a lot of you guys can do. Now, my wife and I are in a great space. Or if I tried that when we were going through our shit, then that probably would have been be grabbing her face and just pulling her in, moving her around is slightly aggressive. And I probably would have been greeted with a right hook, if we were in the worst parts. But for those of you guys that are listening that are in, the activation method and you've already reconciled with your wife, or if you're in the brotherhood or the inner circle or one of our other programs and things are good at home, these are little things you can do. And maybe it's not grabbing her face, maybe it's grabbing her shoulders, maybe it's grabbing her hand and just stare into her eyes and just connect with her soul, so to speak. As woo-woo as that sounds, just connect with her and just say something, a thing of gratitude. If you don't know how to connect yet, say something like, hey, I really appreciate you taking care of the kids. It means a lot to me. Or, wow, just want to let you know you're a great mom. Or, wow, your ass looks really good in those Lululemon pants, or whatever it is but make it authentic and have that micro connection. And that micro connection, guys, is a little bit of seduction as well. So if you start that on Monday, and this goes for this guy you're talking about, and he comes home, crushes it on work on Friday, and he's had a lot of these micro connections, there's a better chance, not a guarantee, but a better chance that his advances will be greeted more openly. And maybe he might be met with some advances, right? Because if she's feeling connected, that means she's feeling safe. And I happen to know this relationship she hasn't felt safe, that she'll feel safe, she'll feel connected, and she'll want to melt into him because this guy is a stud, right? He's a stud by all accounts. And she just needs to feel this little bit more connection. And if it's the pumpkin time and it's the mornings, great. Recognize that, take advantage of that situation. Because look, something that all the guys tell us, right, Tim? They love their wives. Now, in the moment, they might be pissed at them. In the moment, they might hate them, but love them. But they all love their wives. And if you love somebody and you're a leader, isn't it a good thing to figure out when their times are? Like I've learned, like I truly love Tim. And I've learned like when we travel together or do things together, I don't bring big conversation topics to Tim first thing in the morning. Can Tim handle it? Yes. But it's not what Tim wants to do. It's not his best time. So I've learned to not do that. Give Tim his space when we're traveling, when we're at events, we'll have conversations and such, but to give him space, because that's just something I think somebody that cares does, right? You learn about it. You learn what your kids' favorite colors are. You learn all these little things and these little nuances. And that's what makes a relationship. You're relating to the person. And this can lead to intimacy.
100%.
So, Tim, I'll throw it back to you like you did the last podcast. What are 3 things someone can do if they find themselves in this situation and they want to be, I'll use your word, more attuned?
Yeah, I think the first thing would be to figure out those pumpkin hours. We'll just keep using that term. I think you can do that by asking the questions. Like you said, hey, when are you the most energetic? When are you the most turned on, depending on where your relationship is at? Whatever you want to do, right? But figure that out. And you could also just observe it as well. Pay attention to what's going on. But the first thing is to figure that piece out. The second thing I would do is then, to your point, keep the fire burning, right? Amelia's great line of sex starts on a Monday. That can be similar for a lot of women. Some people often say, when does the foreplay begin? Well, it never ends. Kind of goes to Amelia's point. So let's say you've got the attunement and you're looking to get more connection. Then from that point, you get to find ways to stoke that fire, whether it's utilizing Franco's text game. There's some great little strategies in there. It's a PDF that is available in the Facebook group. If you go in there and ask for it, I'm sure the guys will be able to find that for you. There's also a podcast on that as well that we've done. I don't have the episode number in front of me, but if you go on the website and search Franco's text game under the podcast, you'll see it come up. So that's that one. There's some great advice in there. And And then the third piece is continue to fill your cup. And I know that's a little bit of a digression, but the point is the more that you take care of your own needs, the more that you fill your cup. That's the whole emphasis of living from the inside out. Self is at the base of the pyramid, health is above it, and then relationships. And that is because self and health overflow into relationships. They get filled up first. Because from that place, the playfulness will be there. The lightness will be there. You might make an advance at a time when it seems like it's the right time, and you may get rejected. But so what? You can laugh it off. You care a little bit less. You're able to be a little bit more playful, turn shit tests into seduction. You did a great masterclass on that. You're able to do all those things as you continue to live from the inside out. And for this particular man, I know that the stories around rejection have held him back at times from fully taking the initiative when it's there. So as I've told him to go through your masterclass, turning shit tests into seduction, I've told him about that. So continue doing all those things. And I'm sure that those 3 steps will pave the way for better attunement and better connection.
Love it. Hoping to visit this guy in August, actually. So I'll talk to him. If he's listening to this podcast, you can reach out to me as well. Guys, of course, we are doing every Wednesday. We're going at 10 a.m. We're going live into our Facebook group community. It's a free community that you guys know about, as well as once a month, we're giving a free training. It's a free training to go into an in-depth conversation with me. So that's your opportunity to do that. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. UK. So mark your calendars accordingly, whatever time zone you're in. That is on Wednesdays. So make sure you mark those off, and that way you guys can get this. And of course, if this is something you're interested, you're getting value from what you're hearing Tim and I talk about, you're thinking, you know what, I'm ready to get off the fence and actually take some action, or at least investigate it. Go over to thepowerfulman.com and just hit the start now button, and you'll be able to connect with an advisor, set up an appointment that's convenient for you. It's just a phone call, right? Just to see if your particular situation makes sense for the activation method, which has helped thousands of men just like you get through the program. And as always, guys, we say in the moment of insight, take massive action, not not tomorrow, not in an hour, but in the moment of decision. Take care, guys.